Talking about the biggest workforce in modern human history, modern traceable human history. I mean, when you talk about this, sometimes people can take you back to the ancient Babylonians and the Roman Empire and the ancient Israelites and so on, and all of that is relevant. And in fact, the way I feel about it is that if these people are traceable, and if the governments that allowed them to be violated in this way are traceable, they absolutely should petition their governments. I don't think the fact that these other groups of people have been likewise violated by their governments means that every violation by every government should go without a resolution. I think that, again, to the extent that there are any groups of people who have been violated in this extreme and egregious way, where even their very membership in the human species in which they were born was taken away from them, and they were a different species called chattel and property, whatever that even means. I think the kind of harm that is caused by something like that doesn't just self heal. I think the relatives and the people remaining who are descended from these so called chattel and property obviously can never really feel completely whole or vindicated or emancipated or liberated without some kind of antidote. I think that it's kind of, again, like a virus, like a coronavirus. You don't tell people to self vaccinate and to self heal. There are things that have to be done, and mental health and psychological health and physical health, all of that are equally important in a human being. I think when you have the biggest workforce in modern human history, where you're talking over 17 million workers never received even a symbolic dollar of pay for their work. 17 million workers, as I've said before, are the or is equivalent to approximately the entire population of modern day Sweden, plus the entire population of modern day Armenia, plus the entire population of modern day Jamaica, plus the entire population of modern day Montenegro. Combined is 17 million people approximately, and not one of them received a symbolic dollar of pay for their lifetime of work, not even $1. They had done nothing wrong. They had not been adjudicated as having done anything wrong. This is very, 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 very important. I think that the fact that this did not happen on the watches of the current sitting officials in the government is not an excuse for the governments to completely ignore their responsibility and their need to express an understanding that there is accountability that is due. There has to be some accountability for something like this, because then I think it's disqualifying for these same governments to go to tell any other government that human rights are important, or that human rights violations will have consequences. I don't think it's enough for these governments to say that we agreed 80 years after the fact to make the unlawful enslavement of people a crime against humanity, because what does that even mean? Slavery is not a crime against humanity. The unlawful extrajudicial enslavement of even one human being is a crime against that human being. These 17 million people were not a monolith. Let's not forget that. These were individual people who had the right to have rights. I can't read what you wrote, but they had the right to have rights, and Right. I mean, the idea is that time does not make this all go away. It doesn't miraculously go away, just like a coronavirus doesn't miraculously go away. There are things that have to be done in order to cure it, in order to heal it, right? And the fact that the current sitting officials in the government were not the ones who pulled the trigger or who gave the actual permission is not controlling. They continue to condone it because they have never officially renounced it, saying, oh, we agreed 80 years after the fact, after the Holocaust, that slavery is a crime against humanity, does not show remorse for these specific group of people, the biggest workforce in modern human history, who were so egregiously violated. So that's really my point, really, in this book and in